Hi everyone, it's Az here from HeelvsBabyface. I've actually taken today to rest. I needed to catch up on some sleep, and so I spent the whole day in bed, right? And then I needed to get up because I had a meeting, and I thought, while I was getting ready, I'm gonna pop on a video, see who's got one up. Yellow Flash, first video I saw, and it had Final Fantasy 7 Remake, something that I adore, and then it had Last of Us Part 2, something that I abhor, to keep the rhyme going. And I saw the headline, Final Fantasy 7 Remake developer says that The Last of Us Part 2 is a benchmark for video game diversity. Hopefully inclusion as well. So I was like, oh no. So I was listening to a little bit, and I was like, no, I gotta look into this myself. And having looked into it, I'm sort of like, don't panic too much. Why? The author of this article, Jade King, here's them on Twitter. Don't contact them. Don't tweet at them. This person is inserting their own ideology, Kel Surprise, into a lot of this. Okay? And you can see that they're a typical I don't know, is that a trans flag? I don't know. They're a she, her, but maybe they're not. I don't know. 38 minutes ago, my self-worth has been in the bin almost constantly lately. Oh, mopey poo-poo. But I put out some killer interviews this week. Oh, that's it. You just, validate yourself. Both of which delve into mediums I'm passionate about. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. So first and foremost, let me jump to this article that they wrote as well. And they inflicted upon it more than a hefty dose of their own influence. Hoshinaru Kitase hopes players can come to terms with real-world issues through Final Fantasy 7 Remake. This is a person that wants to essentially put their own current-day, modern-day, whatever horrible sensibilities into Final Fantasy 7 Remake. Because the community that they're talking about is probably the community that we see on Twitter, that even if you try and have a joke, even if you say no to what they want, will try and destroy your life. Absolutely destroy your life. They are so caring and loving and inclusive, while at the same time stick a megaphone up your wazoo and start screaming at the top of their voice about inclusion and diversity. So, I think you got an idea of where I stand on this hypocritical debate on inclusion, when it's not. It's about bending the knee. It's about totalitarianism, as we've seen time and time again. They go into Final Fantasy 7 has always been a political story, regardless of what gamers on the internet would like to tell you. So that they're making a statement that they're gatekeeping you immediately. Oh, I'm making a statement and you can't say I'm wrong. And when somebody does that, you know immediately that you're dealing with an absolute moron. You're dealing with a closed-minded bigot who refuses to accept other ideas in. Now, you can have a look into everything and say, well, there's politics here and there's politics there. You can toy and play with the idea of generalized politics. You can look at things like big business, environment, and stuff like that. You can take those broad stroke ideas and play with them and make them into something. But these people, they don't just want that. They want very specific politics. They want it to be what they themselves are heavily involved with, and more often than not, that correspond to their current day. Literally, the 8th of July, 2021, thoughts on environment, big business, yada, 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 yada. Meanwhile, themes of big business versus the little guy has been told time and time and time again in a broad stroke way. The underdog story is another one. All of this kind of stuff. So they can whack the label of politics onto it, and other people can just put themes. Just themes for people to play with. And of course, the theme in Final Fantasy VII is Midgar and Shinra, and the way that they are sucking the life literally out of the planet Gaia, and you know, converting it into an energy. So, you know, they're playing with those themes, and then we have Avalanche trying to prevent that. That, of course, then branches off into all kinds of business. With the Soldier program, Sephiroth, Zack. It deals with mental health issues. Cloud has a breakdown at one point when everything gets revealed to them. All kinds of stuff. Love, loss. It's not a political game. It is a game that has a couple of political themes and has a multitude of themes. So the disingenuous nature of the way that somebody puts this together, again, just shows how much of a closed-minded bigot they are. And that's why they're in games journalism. Because that's where all closed-minded bigots go to push their partisan politics. Cloud, Barrett, Aerith, Tifa, and company strive to fight against this image, to represent those in the real world who wish to rebel against those who want to doom our planet to ruin. Down with Trump. We recently had a chance to catch up with the Final Fantasy VII Remake producer to talk about the political themes of this universe and whether they have bearing on reality. We created a story based in a fantasy world with fantastical concepts. We created a story based in a fantasy world with fantastical concepts, like Shinra and Mako, etc. But these are deliberately made abstract enough that they can be superimposed and compared to things in the real world. Subtext. But these freaking weirdos who write these articles are so consumed by politics, while going on Twitter going, I'm a miserable twat. Maybe, if you broadened your spectrum of what you wanted to absorb once a day, you might be a little bit happier, eh? Jesus wept. Which just absolutely sums up perfectly. You know, we take themes, we use it as a subtext, and we allow you, the audience, to play with them. Oh, I can see, oh yeah, this might be about this. That's the beauty of subtext. That's the beauty of good writing. That's probably why Final Fantasy VII is one of the, or certainly revered as one of the greatest games ever made. You know, but here we go. Aye. But look at this, look at here, trending now. LGBTQ inclusion is important issue, says Final Fantasy Remake. Pushing. Partisan politics. I want to push my partisan politics. In our interview with the senior team, co-director Motomu Toriyama also touched on how Final Fantasy VII hoped to embrace alphabet community identities while also ensuring it was respectful to modern sensibilities. I think that expressing diversity with alphabet inclusion is an important issue for everyone involved in making content, not just people making games. In Final Fantasy VII Remake, we rebuilt the original game using the latest technology, but we feel that it should not stop at the technological side, and we need to update the story content being shown in line with modern sensibilities. Well, as somebody who's played Final Fantasy VII Remake and completed it, it was a brilliant game. I loved it. I don't compare it to Final Fantasy VII from 1997 because it is a remake. So I am understanding that they're wanting to change some things up and play with some things, etc. Because the game looks different, plays different, etc. To the original, and they are two different pieces of art. If you ask myself, one thing that was discussed, of course, was the reduction of Tifa's chesticles. That's nothing. Tifa was she was packing heat in Final Fantasy VII. There was nothing to get upset about there. I think they just made, because the shape of the character, they just kind of made her a little bit more proportionate. However, nothing was given away. She was a beautiful, sexy, gorgeous, intelligent, capable fighter in this game, which was absolutely wonderful. And as regards to the scene in the Honeybee Inn, I thought the way that the Honeybee Inn was done was way better than any Neil Cuckman could dream of producing, with his dystopian woke 25 years deep into an apocalypse Seattle joke of a video game. 25 years deep into apocalypse, and you're just worried about where you're sticking your bits and pieces, and you're living in a barbaric community because society's broken down, and you want to be a they them. Fuck out of here! You're a joke. Meanwhile, in Final Fantasy VII Remake with the Honeybee Inn, it took a gay character and it gave them the bravado that we're seeing with an openly camp gay person, and they put them into a fun game in the Honeybee Inn with Cloud dressed up as a woman. And then, of course, the way that what he was saying was good stuff about acceptance and accepting people for who they are. And it didn't come across as being bludgeoned across the head. It came across as somebody who wanted to have a conversation with you. It came across as somebody that wanted to present their side, shall we say, in a fun and interesting manner. And it came across that way. And when I finished the Honeybee scene for the first time, I thought that was superb. And I gave it a round of applause because I thought that is the way that you can get through to somebody. That is the way that you can actually genuinely make somebody think, oh, okay. But no, we've got Ellie running around going, I'm a fucking lesbian! And that game was a fucking joke. So I wouldn't be too concerned. I think that this author has embellished beyond compare how they think the representation is going to go going forward. And also, if they have looked at games like The Last of Us, shall we say, in terms of inclusion, and one thing that they miss out, by the way, is the Final Fantasy director is also talking about inclusion in the terms of the UI and the way that the game was constructed for people who are essentially blind and want to play video games, etc. So it was more than just LGB alphabet inclusion as well. So there was a very, very partisan way of putting these articles together. But if they look at these games and what's come out of it is things like the beautiful Tifa that we have from the remake, and also the incredibly fun honeybee in scene that we had from the game, then I think they're taking those themes and actually understanding them way better than Neil Cuckman could possibly imagine. So there we go, folks. Don't panic. I would say don't panic. Not yet at all, because I still think Japan understand what the crack is, and I still think they understand that although there is representation, that doesn't mean it comes at a cost of who their current audience is, which is exactly what the Western audience is doing. It's not looking to take away something to add something. It's looking to keep what we have and then maybe tweak another aspect of it to bring in that inclusion. Or maybe look at the way that the scene in the Honeybee Inn was taken in 1997 and just saying, okay, let's take that scene, but instead of playing it too much for laughs like we did back then, let's turn it into what we did, which was a fun mini game that actually had a beautiful message from the owner of the inn. And in other words, they're doing it way better than the West possibly could, which is kind of exactly what Japan is doing in everything right now. Hope you enjoyed the vid. If you did, do give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel. Follow me on social media and YouTube for live streaming. Links are in the description box down below. I'll be back with some more stuff very soon. You take care. Bye for now.